As a Christian, it's essential to approach the mainstream media with a critical eye, recognizing the inherent biases and agendas that often underlie the information presented. Unfortunately, the mainstream media has consistently demonstrated a lack of trustworthiness, particularly when it comes to reporting on issues that matter most to Christians. There are several reasons why Christians cannot trust the mainstream media, and these reasons are rooted in the fundamental values and principles that guide Christian living. First and foremost, the mainstream media often exhibits a blatant anti-Christian bias. This is evident in the way they report on Christian-related issues, such as abortion, same-sex marriage, and religious freedom. The media tends to frame these issues in a way that is hostile to Christian values, often portraying Christians as intolerant, bigoted, or extremist. This biased reporting creates a distorted narrative that undermines the credibility of Christians and their beliefs. For instance, during the debate over same-sex marriage, the media frequently portrayed Christians who opposed the redefinition of marriage as hateful and discriminatory, rather than acknowledging their genuine concerns about the implications of such a change. Another reason Christians cannot trust the mainstream media is a propensity for censorship and selective reporting. The media often cherry-picks stories that fit their preconceived narrative, while ignoring or downplaying those that contradict it. The selective reporting creates an incomplete and inaccurate picture of reality, which can be misleading and deceptive. For example, the media's coverage of persecution against Christians in countries like China, Nigeria, and Iran is often lacking, while they give ample attention to stories that promote a secular or anti-Christian agenda. By censoring or downplaying certain stories, the media creates a false narrative that distorts the truth and undermines the concerns of Christians. Furthermore, the mainstream media's reliance on secular humanism and relativism as their guiding philosophical framework is another reason why Christians cannot trust them. Secular humanism emphasizes the autonomy of human reason and the rejection of divine authority, which is in direct conflict with the Christian worldview. This philosophical bias influences the way the media reports on issues, often prioritizing human opinion and experience over divine revelation and biblical teaching. As a result, the media's reporting on moral and ethical issues is often rooted in a relativistic framework that rejects absolute truth and objective morality. In addition, the mainstream media's cozy relationship with powerful interests and special interest groups is a significant concern for Christians. Many media outlets receive funding and support from organizations that promote secular and liberal agendas, which can influence the type of stories they cover and the way they report on them. This can lead to a lack of objectivity and a failure to critically examine the claims and policies of these interest groups. For instance, the media's coverage of issues like climate change and social justice often reflects the perspectives of liberal think tanks and advocacy groups, rather than presenting a balanced and nuanced view of the issues. Finally, the mainstream media's increasing reliance on sensationalism and emotional manipulation is a tactic that undermines trust and credibility. By using emotive language, graphic images, and provocative headlines, the media can create a particular narrative or atmosphere that influences public opinion and shapes cultural attitudes. However, this approach often prioritizes ratings and clicks over factual accuracy and responsible reporting, which can be damaging to individuals, communities, and society as a whole. As Christians, we are called to be discerning and wise, recognizing the tactics used to manipulate public opinion and resisting the temptation to respond emotionally rather than thoughtfully. In conclusion, as Christians, we have good reason to be cautious and discerning when consuming mainstream media. The anti-Christian bias, censorship, secular humanism, cozy relationships with powerful interests, and reliance on sensationalism all contribute to a lack of trustworthiness in the media. Rather than relying solely on the mainstream media for information and news, Christians should seek out alternative sources that reflect their values and principles, such as Christian news outlets, blogs, and social media platforms. By being aware of these biases and taking a critical approach to the information we consume, we can cultivate a more informed and discerning perspective, one that is grounded in the truth of Scripture and the principles of our faith.